Hey, good morning. I'm here with my mom. She's about to give me a tour of her garden.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the greenhouse because I love this thing. My husband made it for me, and he made it out of the old playground as well as things we found free on Facebook. We only paid a total of $300 for supplies. And so you can see it says Shiloh Inn. That's the old Shiloh Inn up, I think, Cottonwood Canyon in Salt Lake. So come see my greenhouse. We've got all kinds of little benches and stuff where I can put my starters after I start them around March inside. And sometimes it's just a matter of when I get around to planting them. But I use a lot of cups. And
Oh wait, yeah, show us the solo cups with the drainage holes, because those are cool.
Oh,
She
yeah.
taught me how to use solo cups, which you find these a lot just like after like parties or whatever,
Yeah,
but
so
use them as seedling trays.
if you take a pair of scissors, I don't know if I have one around,
Yeah.
and you just cut right here, then you end up with something like this. See these drainage holes?
Yeah.
This one only has one, but most of them have a couple. And it just makes it easy to use it as a resource. And I reuse them. Like, look at this one, how many times I've reused it. It had created its own drainage holes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, also my mom is a science teacher, so she loves science.
Yes, I teach 8th grade science. And if you noticed that some of these cups have names on them, they're like old ones that the students never took home when I told them to, because they get a chance to get a plant-to-plant coupon. And it is surprisingly the highlight of the second semester. So many students get so excited about earning a classroom coupon so they can pick what they want to plant. And then I like keeping my water in here. I have one more I need to fill up. And so I just take the hose and fill it up every year or two. It looks like I haven't done it for 3 years actually. But that's my emergency water. Along with that, the water helps maintain the temperature in the greenhouse evenly for the cold and the hot, because we are in a slightly desert environment.
Yeah, that's real. Wait, also, could you tell them about your potting mix? Because I think it's cool how you make your own potting mix.
Okay, so this time I kept running out of like soil and I didn't want to buy it. And so what I ended up doing is I would take like a handful of compost and a handful of just dirt from the garden, and then a handful of the bagged soil, and I would like just kind of alternate it. I was like, okay, we've got this dirt, the compost, and then the soil,
the garden
and then
soil.
I would replant.
Yeah. So yeah, this stuff isn't even potting soil. This is the stuff you used, or?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
In-ground stuff.
Now it's got
because
leaves.
I'm gonna end up putting them all in the ground. And
Yeah.
this was on sale. My students told me for $2 a bag during Home Depot's sale. So
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool, because for me, like, I'm always trying to buy new potting mix or seedling mix just because I'm stressed that it'll only work if you use the right product. But this kind of proves that if you work with what you got, you still can have some success. So
yeah. And in here right now is when I was cleaning up the yard. Instead of just throwing out the leaves, I was saving it for the next time I put the compost from the kitchen in there, and then you're supposed to do about 3 parts brown stuff. And so I'm just keeping the brown stuff that normally you would throw away, and whatever bag I found, which happened to be this one.
Yep.
So here's the garden. This used to be where the playground was, which is now the greenhouse, right? Because our kids outgrew it. And we do want to extend it eventually and make this whole section. We love having the grass. We don't have grass in the front, and we do have a big family, so we love having the grass. But we do want the garden to be bigger.
Yeah, so expanding it all the way out to these sides.
Yeah.
Here. But yeah, I guess you could show them.
Should we go to the Beehive? Or
Yeah, Beehive. Let's go Beehive.
Beehive.
Okay.
Looks like most of them are out and about right now.
Okay, yeah.
So I got this just over a year ago, the colony. And we started out with, there's like 10 of those slat thingies. I don't even know what they're called because it's my first time doing it. And so half of them were filled. But when you look, you could probably get the camera in here. Yeah. You can see that they're definitely active on all of them at this point.
Oh, like on all 10 of the...
Yeah, you can see the slats right there.
Yeah, I forget what you call them. Yeah, they're like everywhere right now. I'm kind of scared. They're flying all around. I got stung once, but...
I did too. It was not as fun as I thought it was gonna be.
And this is a knockoff flow hive, so we don't have to open it right now, but basically it makes it way easier to harvest the honey by just turning a key and the honey will just fall out. But yeah, we should get away from these bees.
Yeah, it saves you a lot of money on things that you would need to get the honey out of the slat things that we can't remember the name of.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to figure that out.
What is something you've learned from your bees?
That women really do rule the world, the female population. If you guys have watched that bee documentary that they recently did with those super fancy cameras, it almost looks fake. They're so good. It's so fascinating to me how much of it is just hardworking female bees.
So this area, when we started, had a really like clay compacted soil. So I wanted to talk about the strategy you're using to like help make the soil better.
Yes, so this was a lesson that I learned. So at first you think, oh, it's really clay, we should put some sand in there, until you remember that clay and sand pretty much makes concrete. So no, you shouldn't do that. And so I finally had looked it up and learned about it. And really what you should do is you should add organic matter. So, and then worms will eat the organic matter, right? So one thing we've done every fall, we have to bag up a lot of our leaves, but we'll take a lot of them and we'll cover this entire garden, and that feeds the worms. And then I just took like the leaves and kind of distributed them on the surface at the beginning of the spring to prepare it. And then I added more bark, and I added the coconut like bark stuff that they sold at Costco. And then another thing that my friend is doing that I still need to try is where you dig a hole and you bury a container that has little holes in it for the worms to get in. And then you just like stick your scraps in there, and so that you're constantly feeding the worms. But at this point, after like probably 5 years, even when I was planting my tomatoes over here, which happened to be where the most clay soil was, I had worms every time I dug a hole. So that tells me that my soil is improving.
Yeah. And I think another good strategy here is just growing things. So I gave my mom some borage seeds, right? Yeah, so borage seeds. And that's what these little plants are here. And do you want to tell them about the borage, or like what you've learned about it?
So let's go over here where there's some that's up.
Oh yeah.
It's such a good resource to have in your garden. We had put it in as like a cover crop, but then it seeded itself and it came back year after year. So I think this is the 4th year now. It's so abundant that I actually just pull it out if I'm planting a plant in that area because there's so much of it. But that has helped break down the soil and make it more like soil instead of like clay that you would make a pot out of. Yeah, super cool. So borage is related to comfrey actually, and they both have a really deep taproot. And so just by growing plants, their roots are putting organic matter into the soil and improving that structure from day one. So that's why these strawberries and that borage have also been helpful for that strategy. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. So like eventually I'll need to like make rows, right? Just to make a walkway. But I want to do that with like those. I've got some stumps of some trees because we do have space to put the stumps in our yard, and the plants will just cover it. I just keep it there. I know where I've got my big trees that have fallen, and I can use those as a resource either for firewood, which I haven't done, or what I want to do is just make some pathways out of some of the slices of the trunks.
Yeah, super cool. And so I'd say the crop you grow the most of is tomatoes, right? So we built this trellis just last week, just a little makeshift trellis out of some posts and I think this is cattle panel. But I don't know, do you want to tell them about your tomatoes and what you like to use them for?
Oh my goodness. So I've only had one year where I had enough tomatoes to can, but I really do want to can them because when I pay attention, I notice that I use a lot of canned tomatoes. I use it for my favorite salsa recipe. I use it in tons of soups and stews, especially in the winter. And because we like to have the kids over at least once a month on a Sunday, you know, you're making like a giant pot of something. And so I want to get to the point where I can can a lot of them.
Yeah, that's cool.
The deer and the raccoon discovered them last year. So last year was a terrible year for tomatoes. So that's one of the reasons why we're working on a little bit of fencing.
Yeah.
To distract them. Let's talk about the snail thing.
Oh yeah, the seed snails, yeah.
So the seed snails, I tried that this year. It was really fun. And then I end up planting the whole thing. I don't think we'll see it because what I end up using is, you know, sometimes when you get a package from Amazon, it has that brown crumpled up kind of thicker paper. I use that and I put it out like this, right? And then I put some soil on it, like a 1/2 inch of soil. And then you then you roll it all up into like what, if you tipped it this way, would look like a snail thing. And I've got footage if you want to show it.
Oh yeah.
And then you put a bunch of seeds all around in the soil and then the roots go down. And I've got some good video of how that happened. The lettuce, this lettuce I planted, I ended up just taking the whole snail roll and placing it here. And it's actually doing pretty well. I mean, this is all that's survived, but still fun to try. And I did it with this melon as well. It's called golden melon, and it's a non-GMO seed. That's all I know.
Non-GMO.
There's a better one over here, and so it's kind of like
looks pretty good.
It's kind of between a cantaloupe, but a little bit crispier and like a honeydew is what I remember when I've eaten it, but I've never grown it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then I've got some perennials in here, which I've never done before in my gardens.
Whoops.
It's really fun. So we've got the
yarrow.
We got the yarrow, and look, it's even getting a little flower here. Well, it's little.
Yeah.
Almost used the yarrow the other day when I got a wound, but it's just like I was right at the house, like I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Then we've got the milkweed that Dallin gave me for my birthday.
Native milk, showy milkweed for the monarchs. Let's see if there's any monarch eggs. Probably not.
Is it the season?
Yeah.
Oh, it is? Cool. This part, it was just really barren, and it has this really, really thick, what I call carpet at this point, ground cover. All right, so tell us what we did.
Yeah, so the ground carpet. That's the new term for weed fabric or weed barrier. So basically, here's the thing. We didn't build this landscape. We inherited this landscape the way it was. And so what we're trying to do is kind of restore things a little bit at a time. You still want to pull it actually?
Yeah, it's like carpet. This stuff's thick.
Yeah, what was I thinking with that?
I don't know. I thought it was gonna work too until I saw it happening.
Yeah, I was just like shaking it.
Get that part up. Oh, you did. It's just so heavy. See, it's not even working to keep the grass out anymore anyway.
Yeah, this will help. Yeah.
Got it.
So there was this whole area, this whole garden bed up here on this hill is covered in weed barrier, which is kind of just the default for a lot of landscaping projects, but it's not great because plant roots and worms and organic material can't travel through it. So what we noticed is when we pulled it out, all these daisies right here just came right out with it, all the ones that were on top of it. They don't have deep roots, they're just stuck at the top. But anyways, we pulled it out of this section here, and that gave us a blank slate to plant some native plants. So we went to the nursery, picked some stuff up. This is goldenrod. We have 2 types of penstemon. A couple cool ground covers. I think this is prairie sage. And then, yeah, these are some like nice textured spreading ground covers, and this one will spread too. And we also put a strawberry just because those are good ground covers and spreaders. Our goal here, just like in the garden, is get the ground covered so that we don't have erosion, evaporation, baked dry earth, you know. And these native plants are going to do a great job at surviving with less irrigation. I mean, these daisies are probably all right too. And then up here, we planted a blue fescue grass. So just a nice little ornamental grass. But you'll see here, this is the sprinkler for this area. And this is actually just like a regular lawn sprinkler here, fixed spray. And so it's not really the most efficient way to water, but you know, changing it would be a lot of work. And so if we can plant like native drought tolerant plants here, then we'll be able to basically use the sprinklers a lot less. You know, maybe we'll only have to use it like once a week or every other week because we have these drought tolerant established plants. And so this definitely won't be the end of it for this garden bed. I want to take out more weed barrier and start putting in like yarrow and comfrey and more strawberries, and just seeing what we can get it to.
Is this a penstemon?
Yeah, I think that's the Wasatch penstemon. It doesn't look great right now, but that's a native penstemon for us.
And it attracts hummingbirds, which I want to.
Yeah. Yeah, so got anything
cool
to add about this project or this hill? Your thoughts on it?
No, I've been wanting to do that because as the dirt kind of erodes down the hill, you can see over here, it's like a ton of grass coming up over it. And so this is why it was problematic, is that, well, it's supposedly keeping the weeds out. It really isn't. The weeds are now just growing on top because it's been long enough. Whereas if there wasn't so much weed barrier, this one, it's called something sage, you know, could spread a lot more. And when I noticed that they weren't spreading, I was like, wait, why? And I noticed this weed fabric here.
Yeah.
It really is like as thick as carpet. That's why I call it carpet.
Yeah, and this stuff's like basically a lawn at this point. It's just like,
yeah,
the grass has invaded it.
Which is better than nothing, but it's still just not ideal because I want to be able to have the sprinklers not come on as much. And since I have water stations, it's going to be really easy for me to be like, okay, in this area, I want it once a week for 45 minutes and that's it.
The big thing is there's a lot of land here actually. So if I actually show you the border around the lawn here, there's just so much space to work with. But right here, I wanted to show you a cool native plant that we didn't put here, but was already here. This is the Oregon grape, I believe. It's got like holly looking leaves and it's very shade tolerant. And it's actually a plant you'll see in quite a lot of places in the woods or like in people's landscapes. But here in the sun, it's growing a bit bigger. You can see it has these blue berries, which are apparently edible. I'll show you here. It's got like this very bright red juice. And I've always been scared to try them just because they look like hollies, and hollies are very poisonous. And the juice honestly doesn't smell that good. But anyways, you can just see like crazy amount of like biomass back here. And I just can't imagine like trying to maintain all this trees, shrubs, ground covers. Like my mom said, we're trying to expand the garden here from this awkward looking rectangular playground space into something more natural. So I'm thinking we just take a straight line, cut through the lawn, we solarize all this stuff. You can see they kind of already started on it. We've just been piling like organic matter here. That's definitely going to kill the lawn, but that'll give us like a nice kind of structured space to work with. And then I really want to get this garden on drip irrigation because it's on the same lawn sprinklers. And the thing about that is that when you're just broadcasting water indiscriminately, it's going to feed a lot of weeds and just stuff you don't need. So once again, we've got the lawn kind of invading here. It's just basically an invasive species at this point. But if we can get it on drip irrigation, then we can apply water in, organized rows, have clear paths where we walk and we don't compact the soil. But it's a lot of work, so we'll make changes with time.